So do you like them?
Yeah, I do.
Good.
Nice guys.
I'd like to call the meeting of the Planning Commission Monday, August 9th, 2021 to order. Roll call. I am here. Mr. Duncan.
Here.
Mr. Hema.
Here.
Mr. Lundell.
Here.
Mr. Christensen.
Here.
Mr. Mattson.
Here.
Could I get an approval of the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made by Mr. Duncan, second by Mr. Hema. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? How about another one for the approval of the minutes from July 12th, 2021? Your motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
Mr. Lundell's made the motion. Mr. Duncan has seconded the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing, there are none. Discussion items. This concept plan for the Keller Bartman apartment complex being proposed at 415 Hickory Drive, McCannonball lot. Neil, would you like to start this off?
Sure. Andy Bartman from Keller Bartman Properties is presenting a concept plan for a 79-unit apartment complex at 415 Hickory Drive. This will be a PUD, so there's steps that we have to take to in the processing of a planned unit development. The first process is a pre-application staff meeting. We have gotten together with them and talked this thing over, and they have filled out their application, and it's moving forward. The second is a general concept plan, which you have in front of you tonight. The third stage is the development stage, which you guys will be looking at in September. There will be a public hearing that evening. Take comment from the public. So tonight, what we're going to talk about is just the concept plan, what we're planning to do. So this is a rezone, preliminary plat, conditional use permit, and plan unit development. So we're following the plan unit development process. So what you see on the walls tonight, there's pictures. That's actually pictures of the Zumbrota apartment. They don't have their 3D models done yet, but they said they would be very similar to this. Probably not the same color, but very similar. In your packets, you got, overhead photos, application overhead photos of the Cannonball lot, the plat, the concept plan, the parking and floor plans, the elevations. You got a zoning ordinance in front of you, the plan unit development ordinance, which I called out on the stages of the plan unit development, and some color photos. Also in there is the tax increment financing plan that we approved on Tuesday night. The apartment will include 79 units of mixed efficiencies, 24 units of those, 1 bedroom, 33 units of those, 2 bedrooms, 19 units of those, 3 bedroom, 3 units of those, 143 parking spaces, 56 which will be on the first floor, covered parking, and 4 ADA, which allows for 1.75 per unit dwelling. So I think with that said, the reason for the PUD is because there's several things that when looking at this project, first of all, the code for Cannon Falls is 2.25 parking stalls per unit. When Red Wing approved theirs, they went to 1.75. I know when I was in Zumbrota, they didn't have near that many. I think they were probably closer to 1, maybe 1.25. The efficiency apartments, we allow for 500 square feet. Their efficiencies are 480. What was some of the other ones?
The amount of efficiencies.
Yeah, and the number of efficiencies, our R4 ordinance requires no more than 10%. We're over that. There's 24 studios. Huh? Oh, yeah. And then 4 stories, which is their typical building, are we have 3 stories of living units and then 1 story of parking.
And then the green space.
And then also the green space. So with that said, it's best to bring this in as a PUD, plan unit development.
So wouldn't these still require variances for what you've just spoke of, the last 4?
No, when you bring in a PUD, you approve that as a whole.
You get around that?
Get a conditional use, Mike. When you bring it in as a PUD, you're supposed to, I'm going to get it to come on. Thank you.
That's the way of getting around the permitted sign?
When you bring in a PUD, you have to follow the base rules of the zone that you bring it in as. It's being proposed to bring it in as an R4. So in order to make the differences, we would have to do a conditional use permit on top of the PUD.
Is the R4 in conformance with our comprehensive plan in that area then?
You know what? I believe it, we kind of checked on that today, and it is. It actually complies with the comprehensive plan.
I guess I was noticing, because this is a multi-home development, correct?
Yes.
And that calls for 2,500 square foot? So you take 79 times 2,500, that's 197,700, roughly 4.5 acres, and the Cannonball lot alone is only 3.5. How does that work?
That's why we're bringing it in under a PUD.
And then there's going to be a traffic study done then, and similar to Red Wings proposed?
I did happen to call MnDOT.
I saw the 1999 there, but that's quite a while ago.
Yes, and I've got updated statistics for the Planning Commission. Traffic count in 2019 only went up 200 trips per day, so it's 6,200. If you want to put that into correlation of Highway 19 West going towards Casey's, that's at 7,300 trips per day. So it's actually a little over 1,000 trips per day more going west out of Cannon Falls than it is going south.
Yeah, it's a state
Typically, what
highway.
you
20's a county.
when you count per units, I was just talking to Bill, and so you got 6,200 units per day now, while 2019, that was the latest traffic study. They use, WHKS uses 7 trips per day. I know MnDOT, they told me 4 trips, so right in between 4 to 7 trips per day, which adds another 500 trips per day onto the 6,200 what this thing will produce. So it's still less than Highway 19 West going out of town.
State Highway 19, yeah.
I noticed that 4 stories, not 3 as stated in the code, the code being a maximum of 45 feet. This is to be 60 feet or right around there. Is that another reason why it would have to fall under the PUD, to come under that? To bypass that? So this would make this, what, the second tallest building above the Malt House in Cannon?
Yep.
Does our fire department accommodate that?
That's one more thing that probably should be included in the study.
They have a ladder truck.
Yeah. Park Street is also, that's 5 stories, I believe. And I know our fire department can handle that.
Okay.
Any other questions from the board?
I see Bob and Andy from Keller Bartman walk in the room if you got any questions for them.
Any questions? What about, let's talk about the open space. What do we have for open space here?
One of the things that was a question at the city council meeting, public hearing last Tuesday. So I called MnDOT, the district engineer, and asked, because they own the lots just directly to the north of there, and we own the lot after that bottom, right behind the liquor store and Subway. We own that lot.
The floodplains.
Hmm?
The floodplains?
Yeah. It's kind of like Hannah Ben's, Lower Hannah Ben Park.
And then the property directly west of Mr. Baudette's facility that's owned by the state, correct?
That's MnDOT's, yes. So I talked to them last Friday, I believe, and had the discussion of, well, if we wanted to put some green space or a park in, would they allow us to run a trail from the Cannonball lot past their right-of-way and to our lot? And they stated that they would not oppose that. It would be a limited use permit. And that's a pretty good sized lot. It's never going to be developed, as you know. Like I said, it's kind of like Lower Hannah Ben. It's in the floodplain, and So it would create, actually, I think there's trails actually mowed down there already. But if there was to ever be any stuff built, it would have to be flood resistant, which a lot of parks are. They make things that, you know, that can withstand that. So there is I know that, I don't remember which person at the public hearing stated that, but we could definitely solve the green space issue.
Anybody else on the commission have any questions?
So are these considered low income, any of them, or is it just,
I'm going to let Laura answer that one.
So technically, there is 40% of the units will be reserved for what is considered low income, which with a salary starting at about $38,000, which could be a first-year teacher, it could be a young professional, or an active senior on a fixed income. But so those units, none of the rents are subsidized, if that helps to explain that. There's no subsidies whatsoever with any of the units. 40% of those units just need to be reserved for people with that income level. And then it goes up gradually based on the size of the unit. From a studio, it's $38,000, and then for a one-bedroom, it goes up a little bit, two-bedroom, whatever. So does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm personally very worried about this being in an industrial area. You've got Triangle Auto there, that can get noisy at times. You got John Deere back here. You've got an auction house over here. Essentially, this is going right in the, kind of in the middle, to me, of somewhere it shouldn't be. I'm worried more about our children playing out in these areas and getting hurt or getting killed. That is a huge concern of mine here. It just seems this is in the wrong spot.
Can I address that just a
Absolutely.
In your packets, you have, I always tell my staff to do the loop when we have an issue that comes up, whether it be water rates, sewer rates. I always say, do the loop. What is the neighbors doing? What's going on out there in the neighborhood? In your packets, you'll see that there's a map of Rosemont. So I picked one from the city. And if you can find that in your, there's a group of about 5 maps that's in there. And if you look at Rosemont, they have 2 multifamily, one fairly large one, right next to an elevator and a train track, a Quick Trip, a Culver's, a transmission repair, a bar, pizza joint. So it's right in the middle of a commercial area. It's kind of pretty much similar to what Cannon Falls is proposing today. I would compare the agricultural elevator to a implement dealer. As you can see on that map, it's kind of embedded by commercial on the Rosemont one. So then I went to Hastings, and you look at Hastings and the airspace Hastings River Lofts. They're right downtown. You see Antiques on Main, Graphic Design, 2nd Street, Depot Bar and Grill, Post Office. That's where they're putting these apartments. They're putting them in commercial areas. They like to be in close to where the action is. You take a look at Red Wing, another picture. The Red Wing apartments, which are Keller Bartman apartments. You got the Walmart butting right up to it. You got Menards across the street. You got a commercial cul-de-sac on the one side of it. Their other building, you got the hospital right next door. It's not uncommon to see these things in commercial areas. You go to Pine Island, they put up a 60-unit down there, right downtown. If you look at the Pine Island map, there's absolutely no room there. There's no parking. It's all underground. A few rows, there's 2 apartment buildings on that block. Looks like a row apartment or parking's right down the center of it on the alley. And City Hall is right kitty corner from there. You've got commercial business to the west. You got commercial businesses to the north, and then it starts into Main Street. The next map is Zumbrota, where you've got, it's on the old Grover Auto site, so it was built on a commercial lot. It was rezoned, no different than what we're proposing in Cannon Falls. To the north, you have Hub Foods. To the south, you have the hair cutting place and the post office. Across the road, you've got a plumbing shop and a bank kitty corner from there. So it's to say that they don't belong in a commercial area. When I did the loop, and these are all towns that are just out from from Cannon Falls, and I'm sure there's more. And I'm sure you'll find some that are stuck out in the middle of nowhere, too. But it isn't uncommon for these units to be put right downtown because the younger folks, that's what they want. And for the elderly, they want to be able to walk to get a cup of coffee or do whatever.
I guess that's where I'm seeing the difference here, Neil, is all these places have public sidewalks, and doesn't seem to be one of them coming from the Cannonball. Is there?
I don't think so.
No.
If there's a trail,
How would we be able to accommodate that? Because I know right along Highway 20, that would be a lot of fill that would have to be brought in.
well, I think if you went up, you'd go up, what is the one that goes up 64th Avenue? Path?
Private driveway, though, is it not?
Oh, that's our road.
Yeah. So
That's-
what would be the liability on something like that?
Well, you'd have to put a trail along there.
Okay, so it's money out of the city's pocket for that. Okay.
Well, I believe it was last week, I know up in Hopkins, they were taking down a small strip mall, and they're gonna put an apartment building right there, smack dab in the middle of a commercial area. So it is not uncommon to do this.
Well, I take your point of where they're putting them in other towns and areas. Of course, the people that come to me, and I agree 100% with them, feel this is a bad idea to put this in this particular spot. Is there not another spot within this town we could put this? The apartment, I get it, it's wonderful, we need the housing, but can we choose a better spot than this site next to the freeway? I do have our kids' best interest at mind here. This just seems all wrong for the amount of units going in and the amount of people that could be here. We did see that, how many parking spots do we have on site there?
75? 76?
So we got 79 units, and if we figured
Be
2
part of
cars
condition.
per,
We're at 1.75 cars per unit.
so,
That's what you're asking for, correct? For the conditional use?
Yep.
it seems like this is going to get very congested in here also.
You ever looked at the school in the morning and afternoon? Talk about congested.
Seventy 72% of the units are one-bedroom or efficiencies.
Okay.
So the logic behind it was, are we going to have 2 cars coming out of there and you'll probably have 2 cars coming out of the 2 bedrooms. And a 3-bedroom, I would venture to say, it's a family or I don't know that they would have driving kids, but 72% of them are 1-bedroom or efficiencies.
And then what do we have set aside for visitors parking?
Well, that's what they would have to use.
All included?
Yeah.
And that 1 3/4?
Yeah.
Any other questions, Commission?
No, I think you asked on Mike, ones I had.
Excuse me, John?
You did ask the ones that I had. No, I don't have any more questions on this.
Now, as far as different sites, they were showing other sites. They liked this site. So it's, in my opinion, it's not up to us to tell them where they have to build, as long as they meet the requirements that we put in place.
But it is up to us to change it from B2 to R4, high density in the middle of highway business. That's, I guess, what concerns me, because I think having more living space in this town is absolutely essential, but again, as I concur with Mr. Christensen, it just doesn't seem like the right place to be placing this.
My concern also would be if this did go in here, how long before these businesses possibly even move out of there, whether it's Triangle Auto, people complaining about that, or people complaining about them, you know. So there's that concern of mine too.
I think there's always going to be movement in business, but it may reinvigorate some of the businesses in that area too. They may change the type of businesses they have in some of those places. It's just a thought, because you got a lot of people who are, you know, going to be around there.
They
So.
could go across from the high school too, or up on 25.
Yeah, I get that they want this, but I guess personally I feel there's got to be a better spot than this.
I don't know, with everything that's going on here, I think a flexibility study might be in line
I would agree, Mike.
to bring all this down so we got it in front of us.
I think so.
You know, you mentioned sidewalks. A better transport, you know, personal transportation system. There won't be a lot of cars in these efficiency units,
Most likely not, no.
but you're going to have enough people that it might reinvigorate the area over by the mall if you can make it easily accessible to people that can at least walk over there.
Yeah, that I think is one of the biggest factors is being able to get around.
That's right, yeah.
You know, it's going to be
That's going to be an issue.
a substantial cost to the community.
Yep.
That's probably one of my
Lot to
biggest
think about.
factors. Other than that, having more housing, like I say, is fantastic. You could certainly use it. Any other questions or additions from the commission? Neil, do you have anything further?
I'm okay. In front of you, you have a resolution, number 2021-10.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2021-10.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Put myself down. 3 in opposition. Okay, so moved. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second to his motion.
Second.
Second's been made by Mr. Hema. All in favor?
Aye.
So now is the opportunity for anyone